Hi, Peter.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, Peter. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. Bit cooler over in the UK compared to Delhi, so kind of happy we've got
Yes.
our weather compared to India at the moment.
So yeah, it's making me jealous right at the start of the video. Wonderful. So first of all, Peter, thank you so much for accepting my invite to be part of this podcast. Your story really fascinated me when we spoke the first time, and I really wanted our followers, our students, learn from your extensive experience, extensive background, and that's where we are having this interview. Wonderful. So just to introduce Peter, guys, so we have Mr. Peter Hicks from Birmingham, UK. He's a serial entrepreneur. He was previously the managing director of a multinational plastics group. And Peter has set up and sold several businesses and now runs a family business with his 5 children and is the national director of corporate connections in the UK. So once again, Peter, welcome to the Ask Henry show.
Thank you very much. Be here. Thanks, Kounal.
Wonderful. So, Peter, I've heard a lot about you in our last meeting, but I would want you to please let us know how did you start your career?
So I was well educated through school, and when I finished at school, they because I was excelled at maths, they said I should be a statistician. But as you can probably tell, I can't even say the word, so I decided to become an accountant. So having excelled at maths, I thought I can use that skill, be an accountant. I did 4 years to qualify as an accountant when I left school. Started my career in the corporate world and climbed the corporate ladder quite quickly with some good opportunities, which I'll talk about in a little while. But yeah, that's kind of how I got started. Education, finding something I enjoyed and excelling at it. I think that's the best thing I can give to youngsters these days, is to find something you enjoy rather than just something you think will make money, because you can make money at anything in life.
Right. I recently also experienced that.
Yeah, just enjoy it.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Peter, apparently, what were your 3 experiences in your early days that gave you some extremely important lessons for the rest of your life?
Yeah, one of my first lessons was a managing director took me in one of my first days as a senior accountant, and he said, whatever you do, stand your ground. You know, the guy at the top, the CEO of the group, and it was a £3 billion group, and he said, stand your ground. He doesn't like people who back down. You know, if you're right, you're right. So I stood my ground with him, a little too much, I believe, because I knew I was right. But I said to the guy, you know, that this is the figure, and he said, it's not, you know, get out of here. You know, he was a bit angry. He phoned me up 30 minutes after the meeting and apologised, because he said, you were right and you stuck your ground, and I respect that. So he actually, we had a really good relationship after that for the whole group, so he got me in good stead. So I think having a bit of self-confidence, not arrogance. It's very difficult when you're young. People mistake the confidence for arrogance at times. But I think just stand your ground. If you believe in what you believe in, just do it politely. And that's all I did in that meeting. I stepped back when I realised I was, you know, upsetting him. But it was really good. It was a good lesson early on in my career. I think the other one is what I said earlier, is doing something you enjoy. I realised when I was very good at numbers, I do enjoy numbers, I still do. It comes naturally to me, but it wasn't the job I necessarily enjoyed. But I think you realise as you climb the ladder, there's not one single job where you enjoy everything. You know, some things just have to be done. There's some things that are negatives that at the time you don't want to do, you wish you didn't have to, you don't see the reason, but later on you've actually got a massive learning curve through those things that you didn't enjoy doing, because you still did them and knuckled down and got through them. So I think, you know, it's a couple of those really are real lessons for life that I'm trying to teach my kids. but also that education, it's a great start in life kind of thing, but it's not the rest of your life. You have more years after school than you do at school, and it's a continual learning, but a lot of it's around self-confidence and believing in yourself. And it's easy to believe in yourself when you're doing something you enjoy, because you get so much joy out of doing it. That's where I think you should try and find that thing that really excites you to get up in the morning and go and do something.
I really like this part when you mentioned that you will by default have self-confidence if you really enjoy what you're doing and if you're excited about something that you do every morning. So I think that is something which is very apt. Even I have experienced that something is missing when you are not enjoying what you are doing and you feel less confident.
If I may, my best friend in life was a professional footballer. I went to school with him, and he was always really good at football, very confident in himself, and he always believed he was going to be a professional footballer and nothing else. I was well educated. He wasn't. He wasn't an academic. But we left school, and he did very well for himself. Made a lot of money as a footballer. He's now a director of a different business. But he got through that ladder with self-confidence. I got through mine with education. And when we got to adulthood and we had kids, he's teaching his kids you should get a good start and an education in life. And I'm teaching my kids you should have a lot more self-confidence and believe in yourself. So it's you need the both. You can't just have one. But actually, we've both proven we can just have one initially, and then you build off that. So I think finding that building block, whether it's your self-confidence, whether it's your education, but something that you believe in yourself is what you really are projecting. So I think I projected my self-confidence for education. He projected his self-confidence in himself. Both can get you there.
Right, and I really like how you both learned from each other and maybe passed on that learning to your kids. So that is something which really touched the chords for me. So Peter, so what was the transition in your career like? Because I can see what you are doing now was very different from where you started. So like, what happened in the middle of your journey? Like, did you also face something like what in the UK people call a midlife crisis?
I had several, to be fair. So I've had a nice car, and unfortunately I had a divorce. So yeah, been through a lot of those. But but the biggest turning point for me was an executive coach. So I was lucky enough to, the firm paid for me to have an executive coach, and I had one session with him. And at the end of the first session, he said, "Why are you doing this for somebody else?" He said, "You're making other people millions, and you've got the ability, the know-how and the confidence to go and do this for yourself." And it doesn't matter what it is. I didn't go and do the same thing as that business, but he said, you should start your own business. You should believe in yourself more. And that self-belief in, I had in terms of the business, and I climbed to the, very high up the corporate ladder. But actually it's a completely different thing to believe in yourself enough to put everything behind it, because you put your family at risk, your mortgage, your kids, etc. You really are risking everything to do something for yourself and own your own business. But that was the catalyst for me to be able to say, I'm going to do this. And I did it, and I became one of only 2 brokers in the country for RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland. Just as the recession hit, everybody wanted to lease. And I'd got a new leasing product. It was in my head. I told the guy about it, and he said, just go and do it. And I knocked on all the doors of the banks, and I got rejected 5 or 6 times. They didn't know what I was talking about. And then one bank said, "This is genius. Why haven't we thought of this? Come and sell it for us." And the following year, I made £500,000.
Wow!
My only expense was in my car. It was really easy. Well, I thought it was easy. They couldn't understand it, and the other banks that had turned it down were, it's now around the world. It's something I invented, so it's really nice. And then as I climbed that ladder, I was teased back into corporate world. The company I used to work for said, come and run this division for us. So I was CEO of this division, and that was multinational. So that was really exciting. It gave me a great opportunity to travel the world, and run a big business. We won some huge contracts for some big retailers, 45, 50 million pound contracts, and I was disillusioned with the lack of value they placed on people, and I wasn't spending as much time as I would have liked with my children. So I wanted to work closer to home, see my kids more, but also kind of do something for myself. So that's when I quit the corporate world and started my own business locally. So I'd got all this experience, I'd been in the corporate world, a little bit of money behind me, and I decided to start a local marketing business close to home, see my kids, work from an office close to where I live, and not travel, a fraction of what I used to. And in doing so, I found networking. So I went out to find, how do I grow my business? Where do I go and meet like-minded business people? So I, as we all do, I jumped on the internet and said, where do I find these groups? Found one, visited it, didn't like it. Found a second one, didn't like that. And I think that's the thing about, networking is you've got to feel comfortable with the people. So people, different people. So you've got to feel comfortable in that group. And luckily, somebody I'd met at the second meeting said, look, I'm not enjoying this one either, but I've got a group on a Wednesday morning, come to this. And it was a thing called BNI, Business Network International. I went to it and loved it. So within 3 months, I bought the region. So I bought BNI as an executive director and ran the region.
Wow.
So I hadn't been any of the titles, directors or anything. I just literally had been a member for 3 months and I bought it. I said, this is kind of my calling. It's what I really wanted to do with my life. Locally, help small businesses grow and spend more time with my children. So
I can recall my BNI days. I was there for 6 years, and the kind of energy you get there. My meeting used to happen early in the morning. I was the VP of my chapter one term. I think I was in membership committee for 4 or 5 terms. Education coordinator, mentor coordinator, did that, and for the amazing experience.
I've still got lifelong friends from that networking that helped me in business and in life, and vice versa. So I think I'd remind people it's about the people you meet, because people get too precious about the business, and business is easy to do with people when you get on with people. So genuinely enjoy their company and get to know them and try and help them. So I really loved the giver's gain philosophy. If you give first, it'll come around, it'll come back to you. And then I was lucky enough to be on several kind of worldwide forums. So I was on the Founders Circle, which Ivan Meisner set up to help guide the kind of executive on where to take BNI. And then after Graham Weimiller came in as the group CEO, I was on the ITF, the Innovation Task Force, which was a global thing. And I only say these things because I took the opportunity to try and help by giving back. So, how can I help formulate what's going forward? How can I use my skill sets? And in doing so, I had the opportunity to get involved with Corporate Connections. And because of my exposure in those groups that I put myself forward on, Graham knew of me, and he signed off saying, we should sell the UK to Peter Hicks for Corporate Connections. So that brings me to where I am today with Corporate Connections. And all of those things, I'm a huge believer in karma. I'm a huge believer in, everything happens for a reason. Take religion out of it and whatever else. But even the bad things that happen in life teach us something. And it's going through those things that get you where you are. And if one door doesn't close, the other one's unlikely to open. So sometimes you just have to accept that door's going to close, go through another door, take a different direction. And it's amazing when you look back at life, and we can all do it at different stages and ages and go, wow, look, if I hadn't have done that at that point, I wouldn't be where I am now. And correct. But you've got to embrace it rather than shy away and be scared of it. Sometimes doors do close, so accept it.
Yes, I think very well said. I can very much relate to a couple of my experiences, or of my recent experiences, that now when I look back, maybe 10 years back, if that shock would not have come in my life, I wouldn't have been here where I am right now today. So yeah, I think a lot of things happen for a reason, and yes, the law of karma definitely exists.
Yeah, no, I really believe in that. It's throughout my life, it's always something I look back on and go, do you know what? Maybe it's happening for a reason. So just let it be. Go with the flow, and it does make you less stressed, and you relax a little bit more because you just go with the flow a little bit more. So I'd say one of the things with dealing with more stress is to not let things stress you out and accept that there's a reason why it's happening, and it may not be clear at the time, but it's amazing how it does become clear later.
So Peter, how do you manage so many things at the same time? Being a serial entrepreneur, having so many businesses, being run together, having a big family. So how do you manage it all?
Yeah,
I'm right now getting stressed thinking about it.
So I mix a little bit of it now because my kids are a bit older. But if I think back to when they were a bit younger, my Ivan Meisner once said, and I'll credit Ivan with this, whether he originally said it, but he certainly shared it with me at one of the conferences. He said, just live in the moment, be in the moment. And I've heard it so many times, but it resonated at one conference, because how many times are you with your kids and you've got work things going around in your head and you're going, I need to get that sorted. And how many times are you at work where you're going, I feel really guilty because I'm not at home with my kids. And it's the same with multiple businesses. It's not feeling the guilt or the stress. It's getting to the point where you say, get that done, and then dedicate time to your children or to your family or whatever other business, etc., and be in that moment, get that done. So for me, it's I sit down now and prioritize the things that are really important, and then do the ones that are most important first, whether that's in work or at home, etc. And then now the kids are older, I've set up a family business where they each have shares in the business, and when I buy other businesses, I invest in the business and ask the kids to get involved in the business. So they can.
All your kids are into your businesses, or are they also doing something besides your business?
If I go through my 5 children, my stepsons, I've got a stepson and stepdaughter, but I've brought them up since they were 6 and 7. So my son is a chef. My stepdaughter works with me in corporate connections. My youngest daughter has just finished a master's degree in psychology, and she's currently in Bali, coming back on Friday. She's just done 2 months traveling in Thailand and Bali, which is very nice. But she's gone on her own, 24-year-old girl on her own, backpacking just to enjoy and see the world. So really proud of her. And so she's coming back Friday. So she's going to go and do something with psychology. She's already started, because she said to me, you can't afford me. And I said, that's definitely. So I can't, she wants me to employ.
She's part of Scientology. You mentioned Scientology?
Yes, she's got a master's in psychology. So she wants
psychology.
Psychology, yeah, sorry. And my middle daughter, Georgia, is working in one of the businesses we invested in, a kitchen windows business. So she's fully engrossed in that and getting to help with that business and growing that business. And then my eldest actually used to work for me when I owned BNI, and she stayed in BNI. She stayed to do all the administration and the management of BNI for the regions, because I own 4 regions in the UK, so she still runs that for BNI. So it's just really trying to help them on their ladder. So I'm not trying to force them into work with me or to do anything. If they don't want to and they want to do something else, all I've said is do whatever you enjoy, and like I said when I started, if you do what you enjoy, you can excel at it, you can make lots of money at it. So it doesn't really matter, whether it's, I've got a friend who's in scrap metal, and you think there's no money in scrap, but there's an awful lot of money in scrap.
Scrap people are millionaires.
My youngest was a hairdresser when she started, and she still does some of that, but there's people making millions as hairdressers and hair products, Vidal Sassoon or Nikki Clark and people like that. So I think there's just, don't focus on the money. The money will follow success, and it'll follow enjoyment. And people will buy from you when you're passionate about it. So if you find something you're passionate about, it's much easier to sell. and something you
Right.
really despise or don't like, or if you think it's wrong, then how are you ever going to sell it to somebody else? You don't believe in it, why would anybody else?
Absolutely. I think your self-confidence, your self-belief into your products, into your systems is the most important. First, you should taste your food, your systems, and that will really help you in not just making others believe into it, but most importantly, first believe into what you have built yourself.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's all about that inner confidence, but it's also sticking to your values. If you don't like it, you don't believe in it, then you really shouldn't be in that business.
Yes. So, Peter, apparently I do have a list of learnings or lessons, but what is that one most important tip that you would want to give to the new generation, the next generation, which they should follow?
The one thing I'm seeing with my own kids and also their partners as they meet their partners in life is it's attitude. Attitude over aptitude every time. So it's if you go with the right attitude to help other people, to work hard, to try, the education and the knowledge will come with you. It's easy to educate people better with more knowledge, but you have to have the right attitude. So I think it really is about the attitude towards work and towards other people that will get you the right place in life. So I think
you picked the right part. I think everything would follow if you have the right mindset, right attitude. Very well. I think that is something which we at Henry Harvin Education, we follow that. That while you're hiring, getting the right people into the system, the definition of right people is one of the aspects is the right intent, the right attitude, the right mindset. So, and that's something which is very difficult to check in a very brief amount of time, but that is something which matters the most in the long run.
My friends over here think I'm half Indian. They said, you've got a family business, you're an accountant, you believe in karma, all this attitude thing you said. So, yeah, my Indian friends over here just said, are you sure you're not Indian? So,
Wonderful. It was actually an amazing time I had past few minutes talking to you, Peter. Your journey is remarkable, and I got a list of learnings myself for my own business, for my own life. Thank you so very much, Peter, for accepting my invite to be part of this podcast.
It was lovely to meet you the other day, and to be able to continue that. I look forward to an ongoing relationship.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for accepting the invite and sharing all your lessons, your learnings, your experiences, and all the very best for your life ahead. Take care.
Yeah, you too. You too. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.